But let's have a look at business, and the $39 billion takeover of Afterpay will be decided by shareholders, as the competition watchdog, the ACCC, said it will not stand in the way. Business editor Ross Greenwood joins us as he does on a Friday. And Ross, there's also explanation today about why that bloke who created Twitter wants to buy Afterpay.
Yeah, that bloke is Jack Dorsey, and his shareholders, like the ACCC, went, yes, go on, through you go. Let's just wave this thing through. So so what you've got now is the ACCC said no competition grounds, and that's justifiable. Then on top of that, you've actually got the shareholders in Square, which is a business that Jack Dorsey has created, which is a payments business. Now, if you've been to the markets and you've seen a lot of traders there with a little white square that you put your card on, that's the business, that's Square. But it's actually much more than that, because it's got payments. But the thing that everybody's been a bit bemused by is why Jack Dorsey, with this business in the US, has been prepared to pay $39 billion for Afterpay. Mind you, he's paying for it with his own shares in Square. So from that point of view, they're keen to get it, there's no doubt. And indeed, you'd imagine that the Afterpay shareholders are going to be pretty keen to sell out to them as well. So in a call today, when he had to announce his third quarter earnings, he also made some mention as to why. And it's really about trying to link up the retailers that Afterpay has got with the buy now, pay later model with a lot of the consumers that Square has got that use its business. Here's a little of what he said in a bit of an audio take.
We do believe that having these multiple ecosystems is our ultimate superpower and differentiator. So being able to have both ends of the counter, two different audiences and sellers and individuals is really important. There's a thesis behind Afterpay as well, and that probably represents the largest potential for connecting the ecosystems.
So you see there, Chris, he's saying that Afterpay may be very well the superpower that Square is looking for. But the second thing, interestingly enough, is that Square made most of its money in the third quarter, or didn't, out of trading Bitcoin. And so the bizarre part about this is that the share price of Afterpay today fell because Square fell because they weren't making as much money out of cryptocurrency as they'd been previously. So figure that one out.
I tell you what, I can't, mate. It's mind-boggling, the digital empires that these people are building so quickly. Now, we were just talking about Glasgow, and one of the things out of COP26 has been companies pledging their emissions reductions. But the biggest emitter for a long while to come, of course, is going to be electricity generation.
There's no doubt.
Yep.
That's exactly right, Chris. And the reason is, and you heard Ian Plimer talking about this, and one of the big issues here is really all about what happens to Australia's electricity grid. Everybody in an ideal world, utopia, would love to have complete, sort of, if you like, renewable energy. Yep. But you'd love to have it to be dispatchable, but you don't have the technology. So I've sat down with the boss of AEMO, who effectively runs Australia's East Coast and Southern electricity grid, to talk about that. Now, the interesting thing about this is that parts of Australia now are getting very close to the point at which they can completely generate all of their electricity through renewables, but they still need some other power to make certain that they can even out the voltages. And this is something they've got to take control of if they are to continue to have control over the electricity grid. Let's have a listen to him now.
In South Australia last weekend, we had a period where 87% of demand, of people's demand, was met by rooftop solar. And we do have many tools to be able to make sure that the grid is safe, secure and reliable through those periods. And what we need to do is to keep evolving that toolkit as we head towards a time when, frankly, by 2025, there'll be periods where all of Australia's electricity demand is able to be met by renewable energy.
So the interesting part about that, Chris, as you can hear, is it's not necessarily the big wind farms and the solar farms that we're seeing. They'll have a big impact in the future. It's actually rooftop solar, the stuff that people have put in their homes. 1 in 3 homes, he's saying now, has rooftop solar, and that's the thing that really is generating, ultimately, most of the electricity for our needs into the future. It's fascinating to watch just exactly how that behaviour in households is also affecting the electricity grid.
Yeah, very complicated. It's all about storage and firming, but they've got very tricky things where you can link up all the batteries in the houses and basically have a communal battery and all sorts of things. So we keep an eye on that one. That'll be fascinating. I've been wanting to catch up with the AEMO myself for ages, so well done on that interview. Give us a wrap up on the market this week, Ross. It finished up pretty strongly, didn't it?
It did, and it was really strong. And the reason is this big battle that's taken place between the traders and the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank has indicated that it didn't want to actually move interest rates for all of next year. Traders believe with inflation coming, and there's been aspects of that coming out of the US as well, that really they've got no choice but to raise the interest rates. Now, it was interesting today that the Reserve Bank put out its monetary policy statement today, and in this it basically has changed its forecast, in particular for inflation. So the key measure for the Reserve Bank is this trimmed mean inflation. It's got to be between 2 and 3%. You can see here it's upgraded all of its forecasts for inflation going through over the next few quarters. Now, that also is perhaps the small hint that at some point, if their forecasts here are wrong and inflation is even higher again, that the Reserve Bank may have little choice, but indeed to increase interest rates. And that's one of the reasons why the markets this week were so choppy.
Yeah, look out. Have a great weekend, Ross. Thanks.
Indeed.